Jamaica. I would like to welcome Coach Lorne Danaldson and player number 14, Deniesha Blackwood. Please note that we have translation in both Spanish and English today. Both the coach and the player will be speaking English. So if you plan on asking the question in Spanish, please announce it beforehand so that they could put on their earphones. If you have a question, raise your hand, wait for the microphone, and state your name and your organization, then ask the question. We'll start first here.
I'm Joe Lynch for SBN. My question will be in English, and it's both Coach Lorne and Deniesha. This is a huge game. I won't ask you if it's the biggest game in Jamaican football history, but it's one of them. Something very new for this team, a knockout game in the World Cup. How are you approaching it in terms of emotions, keeping the lid on it, not getting overawed by the occasion?
I think there are big games. This is just a different round. I think the approach is we're not going to change much. We're going to come out and try to give it a good shot and try to win the game. Somebody will be knocked out. It's like a boxing match. Somebody will go down. So we're going to try to be the one who we want to be standing when the game is over. So we have to give it our best. We're playing a great team. Very good team, very good players. So it will be a great match.
I think from the players' perspective, having such strong performances in the group stage, we're very confident going into this game. And I think, as Coach said, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully we are the team last standing.
Jonathan Tannenwald, Philadelphia Inquirer, one for each of you. Deniesha, I'd like to know what you make of the huge upswell in public support for your team.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I'd like to know what you make of the big upswell in support for the Reggae Girlz back home. There was a huge splash in the Jamaican Cleaner over the weekend. Andre Blake, the captain of the Reggae Girlz, who admittedly I know pretty well because he's in Philadelphia, had lots of great things to say about you all. I wonder what you make of that. And Lorne, I hope you'll forgive me a question that isn't quite about your team, but there was something pretty big happened here last night, as you know, and I was wondering if you've at all spoken with Sophia or have anything to say about that.
Well, it's everybody who follow the game know that I actually know a lot of the U.S. player, and what happened to Sophia is just she has to grow from it. I have coached her for a long time, and you never want to see that happen to one of your kids, but it did happen, and I'm sure that I felt bad for her. I was at the game, and I am sure Sophia, knowing her, she will rebound from what happened to her last night. Because she's a great human being.
I think the support has been really good. Obviously, we've made so many history, and I think just to have our country behind us, it's a really good feeling. And I think right now the girls are just soaking it up and just ready to make the country more proud.
Yes, Danaldson here. My name is Fernando Alegre Barros. I'm from Estado de São Paulo, freelancer for Estado de São Paulo, Brazil. I have a question for you and for the player. And I would like to concentrate on you. When you decided to coach female teams, and what your tactical masters, who you are like to see the work other managers, who are your inspiration, let's see, and how you make this team play so well. And for the player, how is work with these men? How is the strength that he have? Thank you very much.
Yeah, coaching female, I don't think there's a lot of difference between coaching men and women, okay? There's certain things, certain functions that you got to be because of the biology of the player that you have to be aware of. But I've coached men all my life, and getting to coach female wasn't, really that of a challenge. They're a little bit different in personality, and you got to treat the personality different. But again, to me, this was all about the players. I get to know them from they were young. Deniesha from she was 14, 15 years old. So I kind of hang around them and just, I did this just from my heart. So I could help the country move on, and and that's what we're just trying to do. Just trying to help the country, and just basically show the country that if you put, a little bit of trust in people and put some effort, you can get some good stuff that happens.
I think knowing Coach for so long, one thing he's always very good at, is creating a room for improving and learning. And I think him having such a strong team and, scouting some of the most experienced players we've had, I think it just shows his character and show how much he sees us. And I think that's very important for us as girls. All we ever wanted was a coach who actually see us and, create the room and environment for us to grow.
Danaldson, about inspirations, Ancelotti, Mourinho.
No, I have some old coach from Jamaica that I actually, one is, my ex-national team coach, George Thompson, my ex-club coach, Leighton Duncan. So I fought way back to some of those coaches who, when I was a schoolboy or when I was in my teens, actually did some great stuff for me. So, I know there's some great coaches out there, Pep Mourinho and all those guys. Yes, if you ask me to name one, it's going to be maybe, the ex-Manchester United, the great one, Sir Alex Ferguson.
Cristian González para el diario As. Voy a hacer la pregunta en español. Para el profe Lorne, quería preguntarle acerca de si le preocupa un poco la falta de efectividad que ha tenido la selección, teniendo en cuenta que apenas tienen un gol y ha sido de pelota quieta, y cuál ha sido la clave para sostenerse defensivamente tan fuertes en este mundial. Y para Deniesha quería preguntarle acerca de la influencia que ha tenido Cedella Marley en esta selección y cómo siente que ha evolucionado el fútbol femenino practicado por mujeres no solo en Jamaica sino en todo Sudamérica, en Sudamérica también. Gracias.
Yeah, I take the first one. The lack of goal and coming in is I don't think it's a major concern to us. We played some good teams. You got France and Brazil, two of the top teams in the world, and we're actually supposed to be losing by 6 or 7 goals, okay, from the critics. So we have to get through the round. You have to do what you have to do, and so the lack of goal, like I said now and before, we have to try to score a goal to win this game because somebody will be knocked out. So we will put our best foot forward, and hopefully we can get something going on here with goals.
I think Cedella has been the most important part of her journey. I think the best thing about her is she actually sees us as not just as football players but as human beings, and I think that is just something we've always wanted. So she treats us as, not just as players but as people who have, different lives and stuff, and I think her support has been really important to us, and she's just the heart of this team, and she's just also like our fairy godmother in a sense. So we just appreciate her for everything she has done so far.
Clara Tamara de DirecTV Sports. I will do the question in Spanish. Aquí. Para el técnico, la pregunta es, ¿qué opinión tiene por estos días la Federación de Fútbol de Jamaica hablando de la historia de la hija de Bob Marley, que las ha apoyado sumamente importante económicamente, que la madre de una de ustedes también hizo un crowdfunding para que pudieran estar en esta instancia del Mundial? Y para Deniesha, me gustaría preguntarle sobre el poder ofensivo de Colombia. Hay jugadoras muy desequilibrantes en este mundial, y claramente se está hablando de Linda Caicedo, una de las jugadoras más importantes en poder ofensivo, y usted está allí en la zona defensiva. ¿Cómo van a contrarrestar a Linda Caicedo? ¿Va a haber marcaje 1-1? ¿Cómo han pensado enfrentar a Colombia?
I'll go first. So, what the country, and the JFF, what Federation thinks about Cedella, Cedella. I think Cedella is in high regards, okay? Jamaica is a country, if, sometimes, if there's not rumors and stuff or whatever, I don't think we function. I think we function better when there's adversity. So yeah, so there's always stuff like that going around, and not because we're at the World Cup and we're doing so-called well. It's gonna happen again. But you know, as Deniesha says, the backbone of the team all along has been Cedella. Without Cedella, I don't think, you know, and I can honestly say this because when the program was under and there was no football for the women, she was the one who came and pushed the start button and said, we need to go, and she invited us in. So I think the country is proud of her, and I think the federation is proud of her.
I think when it comes down to Colombia, obviously they are a strong team, and like, you know, they have two of the best forwards right now in the World Cup. But I think we've played against two of the best teams. We've defended very well, and I think for a game like this, we have so much talent, and a lot of the world haven't seen us play offensively yet. And I think a game like this is a game where we're going to show the world what we can not do just defensively, but also offensively.
For the coach, my name is Valentina Peña for W Radio Colombia. I'm going to ask the question in English. Everybody's been talking about how physical and defensive Jamaica can be, but Colombia is a really physical team too. Does that change your plan, or maybe like the sketch you've been using in the last games? We will see maybe like a more offensive team in a round of 16? Thank you.
No, the physicality of Colombia, and you say the physicality of the Reggae Girlz, I don't even think we think about that. That's not a part of our plan. I just think there's a referee out there, and whatever happens, I think the referee job is to control the game. I know you have VAR and all this kind of stuff, so I don't think the physical aspect of the game is going to be a major deciding factor.
Hi, here. It's Renata from Brazil, TV Global. I would like to ask first the coach. You're the only team that haven't conceded a goal in this World Cup yet. And before the World Cup, you had conceded many goals in some friendlies. So I would like to ask you about how did you change this scenario, if you had any conversation with the girls, and how have you talked to them about this, the importance of defending well in a World Cup like this? How did you change this scenario? And to Deniesha, I would like to ask you about the reaction in your country. I can imagine that you're very famous now, like a lot of people are talking about all the achievements you have in this World Cup already. So how has been this reaction?
Okay. Well, I mean, our defending, again, was something of concern for us. And we had really no games coming in to the World Cup, but we did a camp in Jamaica, and the emphasis of the camp was just, it was from June 10th to June 21st. That 10-day camp was very important because the main emphasis was, can we buy into defending? And I think right there and then, you know, we saw something, and the girls have bought into it, and this is what happened when, you know, people put their trust in something and they work hard and they believe they can do it, and we know they could do it. But as you say, we have conceded a lot of goals coming in, but you know, we didn't have the games to play to show that we can do it, and it's on the biggest stage right now. We're trying to show that hopefully that continues.
Joe Lynch for ESPN.
Sorry,
Deniesha.
Yeah, I think the energy from Jamaica has been very overwhelming in a good way. I think we as players, we haven't really seen it yet because we're not there, but I think we feel it, which is the most important part. And I think what's also important too is that, you know, we're heroes to the younger generation, especially in Jamaica, and I think that is very important, you know, so that they have players like us to look up to and say, hey, I want to be like those girls when I grow up. So I think that's a very good feeling for us to have, and we're just going to keep, you know, inspiring the next generation.
Just two questions. First one, quick one for you, Coach Lorne. I'm told Buddy, after the game against Brazil, told the TV cameras in the mix zone that she'd picked up a knock before the Panama game that she carried into that Brazil fixture. Just how is her fitness heading into the game tomorrow?
At this stage of the competition, not just Buddy, but everybody will have a knock. So, I mean, you know, we have a good medical team, and, you know, whatever knock we have, you know, when you blow the whistle, you know, let's just get on with it. So yeah, I mean, we don't put a lot of concern, you know, in injuries. If somebody's injured and they can't play or something, the next lady's up, and we just keep going. That's how we approach it.
And just secondly, I've heard in these press conferences a lot, both you and the players that have come in, you've talked about enjoying yourselves both on the pitch and on the training track. And question for both of you, I'm wondering how that manifests when you are trying to create the environment at training, on games. How are you creating an environment where you are enjoying yourselves as individuals and as a team?
I'll go, if you ever come to one of our training or locker room or whatever, it's just music and dancing. I mean, that's why we're the Reggae Girlz, yes. The girls are not afraid to do it, and every once in a while I might just take my whole body and try to do something. I can't do it as well, but you know, that's just a part of what we do. And you know, and just like Brazil, you know, Brazil is a country that's right. We and the Brazilians get along, you know, but culturally, because we love to have fun, and I just think you're not going to come around this way again, so you might as well enjoy it. And you know, when it's over and done, you know, you can remember and say, I had a good time.
Yes. Hi, Katie Smith from the BBC. A question for Deniesha. I think we can all agree this tournament has been phenomenal already. We're only at around the 16th stage, and that is for so many reasons. But I wondered if you could just go back to 2019 and just reflect from a player's perspective on how it's changed, both good and bad.
I think going into the 2019 World Cup, as players, we were just so excited to be a part of our first World Cup. But I think as those 4 years came along, we've gotten more experienced players, and we've also, I think some of those players, including myself, have gotten mentally mature over the 4 years, and I think that is what has been the best thing about this team. We have been so mentally mature throughout these past 4 years, both on and off the field, and I think it just, shows how much we didn't, at the first World Cup, we just was excited to be there, but this one we came to play.
Hi, Coach Deniesha. First question, Wade Brown, Irish family, Jamaica, by the way. First question to Deniesha. What is the secret to your success defensively, and how far can this team go? And Coach, it's another South American team. How confident are you in your preparations? And if Jamaica wins, will we see another cartwheel celebration at the end of the game?
I think the secret to our defense unit, I think, as Coach said, we've conceded a lot of goals, and I think the mentality that we have in that Jamaica camp was, we have to start defending as a team and not just only as a back forward goalkeeper. And I think that camp just kind of showed that we could do it as a unit, and I think we just kept working on it, and it just paid off in the end.
Yeah, and to your question how far we can go, I just think that we take it one game at a time. And as I said before, the best team is going to be standing up after this one, so somebody will get a knockout. Somebody will throw a knockout punch. And I mean, on that cartwheel, I don't think in Jamaica as a kid we called it cartwheel. We called it, it was a kid stuff. Everybody do a poopa lick. It's called poopa lick in Jamaica. So anytime a kid see green grass or someplace, that's what we try to challenge each other. Who can do the most poopa lick? So my kid, my little 9 and 10-year-old sends that to me, and I just enjoy myself.
Emma Smith, BT Sport. Question for Lorne, more general question about the World Cup. Currently at the Women's World Cup, there's only one female coach left in the competition, which is Selena Beekman for England. I was just wondering, from a coach's perspective, why you think that is, and whether you think it's an issue that there aren't as many female coaches at the very top of the women's game here left in the competition.
You know what? You just educated me on something I don't know, but I don't look at female coaches and male coach and really see a difference. The last 2 World Cup have been won by a female coach. One of my good friends, Jill Ellis, she won the last 2 World Cups. So I mean, if we're going to take the past and put it now, okay, the females have done better than the males recently. So I mean, I wouldn't take that into anything. It's just one of those things that just happened. There's one female coach left, and she might turn around and win it out. Who knows?
Good afternoon, Marcel Correia from TV Global Brazil. Coach Danaldson already mentioned that we Brazilians and you Jamaicans are made of the same fabric, I guess. The joy of life and everything. But my question is for Deniesha, because generally in football we associate joy and happiness to attacking and dribbling, nutmegs, goals, passes. But you seem to enjoy defending. Where it comes from and why?
I think people always say the best offense is defense, and I think no matter where you play on the field, you still have to try to have fun, and I think when me or one of my other teammates made a tackle, and it's a boost for us as much as Bunny would score a goal or Jody would score a goal. So I think that's where it kind of relates to just having fun. I think it's just it's just as powerful as scoring a goal, making a tackle, or making a save, and I think that's where we find our joy in doing it.
Hola, buenas tardes. José Alberto Ortiz de Caracol Radio en Colombia. Mi pregunta es en español para el entrenador. Ya se ha transcurrido la primera parte del campeonato, la fase de grupos, y hemos encontrado equipos como Brasil, Alemania, Estados Unidos que han resultado eliminados, llegando pues con un rótulo de favoritos. ¿Considera usted, entrenador, que las distancias se están acortando o se debe esta situación de los equipos que acabo de mencionar a el relevo generacional normal que acontece en estos mismos equipos?
Well, the question is again, there's some top teams that are in previous World Cup that would be standing now and teams are eliminated. I just think there's it's not a change, but I would think that, some of the smaller, lesser countries, I would call them smaller, some of the lesser so-called female countries, okay, the game has exploded and, people are putting more resources. The coaching is better, the front office is better, there's a little more resources. Still not to the, to the certain countries, but it's getting better, and it's important that when you're coaching and your front and your staffing is better, and there's a better understanding, of what's going on. And I think so a lot of these countries have done a good job too, improving their players. So you can't leave out the players because they play. We just watch them run around and talk a lot of crap and they play. So, but yeah, I just think everybody now is seeing what's going on, and I think this tournament, is sending out a message that the smaller countries will have a say in the future.
Deniesha, Annie Peterson from AP. FIFA designated a portion of the prize money to go directly to the players, and all the players who make the round of 16 are getting $60,000. I'm wondering what that money means to you, and if that prize money and the infusion to individual players provides an example for younger kids maybe in Jamaica looking at soccer as a potential career.
Yeah, I think this money that FIFA is giving to the players individually, it's really a good start, because I think, for a long time we've been trying to find for equal play. So, just to have something like that is very important to players. And I think personally, obviously as players we have life outside of football, and I think a prize money like that, rewards us in ways we can't imagine. A lot of us have bills to pay, family to take care of, and I think for the younger generation, especially in our country, football is not big, it doesn't make you a lot of money. So for them to see us doing what we love, and realize that you can make a living off it, it's just like, I think it's very motivational to them, and a lot of them will consider, hey, I want to make football my career. So I think it's a really good start for the future generation and for football in general.
Hi, it's Tamara Griffin with The Athletic. Same question for both of you, because I'm curious about the player and the managerial perspective on this. Looking at Jamaica and Colombia, I think one theme that has sort of defined the journey up until this point has included defying expectations, shocking, keeping clean sheets, beating top 10 teams. As we've heard today, there are also a lot of similarities in playing styles, aggressive defenses, I'm wondering if, knowing that you are facing an opponent with whom you share so many similarities when it comes to lowered expectations of you and being able to sort of surprise people, get them on the back foot, to sharing joy, you know, being playful and listening to music at training. Does it change your approach at all? And is there a sense of like familiarity that changes the way that you approach the game?
No, I just think it's a joy to see that actually. I was in Sydney, our first game, and just to touch back, I was in Sydney and we went to a club at night, and at the bottom was Colombian partying, and at the top it was Jamaican, really seriously, one floor Colombian. So we went down there and started, you know, some Jamaican started party with a Colombian. It was great and whatever it is. What I'm just saying is, you know, the question you asked if it's going to change anything, I just think it, to me, I think it makes it better that you have countries like this who enjoy life first. Okay? I mean, there's more important thing in life, I mean, than football. So you enjoy life first, and hopefully whoever is left standing in this game, we can walk over and just congratulate them and just say, you know, good job.
And I think as a player, personally, I think a game like this is very good for both countries, you know, especially for, I'm going to keep saying it, especially for the younger generation, because, you know, they also have a lot of struggles too in their country. And I think for both countries, younger generation watching teams like this, it's a good show for them, you know, it's hope. So I think as a player, I think both teams are just going to go there and, you know, do the best we can. And, you know, at the end of the day, one country is going to be, I think both countries should be proud at the end of the day because we both have came so far, and I think we've made a lot of history for our countries.
Lorne, I'd like to ask you a question I asked Deniesha earlier about what the groundswell of public support means to you. And I know it's not the first one, and I know it's also come not only from within Jamaica, from the huge Jamaican expat in community in the States that I know you know very well, and we're used to seeing him in men's football. We're used to seeing him in track and field, especially on the East Coast. And here it is now in women's football, and I wonder what it all means to you.
Well, I mean, just a little bit of history. I mean, 2019, nothing came out of it, really. You know, it was more chaos than should have been forward thinking. But as we see, this one might be a little bit different, and I say might be. So I have to see first that somebody's going to step forward and just make it special. And that's what we're hoping for. So this time around, we don't sit back and wait because, you know, the Jamaican population at large is not really a women's football country. There are a lot of women's football support in Jamaica. I think the diaspora is the one who actually really gets behind Jamaican football. The diaspora in Australia, England, all over the place. And then there's a lot of Jamaicans who are like, whatever. But I actually know now they're waking up and watching the games. So hopefully that will help us and help, as Deniesha says, the country and the young kids and everybody, you know, to move along. So I think it's a wait and see.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Deniesha.
I don't know, this is Jeremy Lynch, Jamaican international, straight out of Vietnam from Binding FC. And you're watching Eddie Vision. Please like, click, subscribe, share, and tell a friend. Out.